Hello, I'm Krista West of Avlea Folk Embroidery, and this is another FlossTube. I am so glad to have all of you guys here and to be here. This is exciting. I have so much to share. So much to share. I know the last couple of months I've been a little bit sketchy with my FlossTubes, but now I'm back on a regular schedule and really excited to share a lot of stuff. Before I begin, you can notice my beautiful new floss wall behind me. Over the last month, I've been doing a big workshop reorganization to create more space for Avlea supplies. And it's so helpful to me as a designer to be able to see all my floss colors like at one spot. And for those of you who are wondering like how they're actually organized from kind of here and here over. They're organized by color families. But in here, this little section here, if you're wondering why this one's here, is on a number of our kits. We've figured out that it is faster to wind 2 cones at once, but we always want those flosses, if we wind from 2 cones at once, we want it to be the same die-lot number. So these are our double die-lot cones. So like when we need to grab 2 that we know are the same die-lot, they're all right here. So it's kind of cool. So we have like kind of our little rainbow effect here, and then we have all the other colors there. So that's the new floss wall. Very exciting. Also great to have all the fabric here so that we can like easily grab fabric rather than having to go into the back of the workshop and find it. So before I get started, all the things, I'm Krista West. I'm the designer and owner of Avlea Folk Embroidery. And you can see all my work at the Avlea website, which will be in the notes. And then if you want to follow along on Instagram, my Instagram will also be in the notes. I am really close to 9,000 followers. I'm pretty excited about that. Learning social media has been a huge thing for me. I had no social media accounts of any kind until like 2018 maybe. So I'm very new to social media, and I'm really excited to have built that kind of a following of people who just want to see beautiful photos of embroidery. So pretty great. You can also subscribe here at YouTube. That's really helpful if you don't mind doing that. And then if you want to hear like all the latest stuff and see when new releases are available, get discount codes, all that kind of thing, then sign up for the emails at the Avlea website, also in the notes. I send out 1 email every Saturday morning, and I really try to be very intentional about your time and attention. I feel like each of us only gets one lovely short life. And so I want to be very careful of that. So I try to make sure that those emails just show new releases, what I'm working on, kind of how my creative week went that week. So, okay, all the things. Today, I have so much great stuff to show you. Whoo! So exciting. I'm like literally like looking on my table, which I literally have covered in embroideries. Trying to figure out what I'm going to show you first. But I think let's start with the newest release. So a number of you have watched over the last couple of months as I have stitched the new design, Aegean Arbor. I stitched this for my granddaughter for her Prika, which is her collection of heirloom embroideries that I add to every year that I will give her when she launches into adulthood, so that she has some beautiful things for her own home when she has her own home. You'll have to forgive me. I'm just getting over a cold. So I might have a little bit of coughing in this floss tube. I'm doing fine. I just had a cold last week over spring break, which was like, seriously? Anyways, but I did get a lot of stitching done, so that was kind of fun. That's always like the upside of a cold for us stitchers. But this is a Gian Arbor. It's inspired by a style of embroidery that I like to call a centered band. And what that means is basically the design is all centered down the middle of the fabric, usually as a table runner, sometimes as a cushion. And the idea is that it's oftentimes made up of multiple different borders that when combined create this big, massive, amazing border. This one, I changed up the center motifs pretty radically. And so the center motif is actually like an all-over design that has diamonds and these really cool little, like almost like stylized vinework motifs, and then 8-pointed stars. So sorry. Then the next border out is a beautiful little serrated carnation. And then the final border is another style of kind of like serrated carnation done in a monochromatic gold and then blue and then gold and then blue. These kind of designs, so sorry, these kind of designs historically were often done in reds and blacks. So very, very high contrast, which is great for traditional folk embroidery. But I don't actually use a lot of really intense red and black folk embroidery in my own decor. And sometimes I really like to change up the color palette so that we can kind of see the design afresh. Because this looks fundamentally different in red and black than it does in this really restful palette of like, it's actually 926, excuse me, gray-green medium, 936 avocado green very dark, and 733 golden olive green medium. I always get those two confused. So really great color palette. With Aegean Arbor, so Aegean Arbor comes as a kit. It's stitched on 30 count Greek linen in the color vanilla. I have chosen to finish it with a drawn thread hem, but I was struck when I was stitching this that it would also make an awesome bolster pillow. This would just be amazing. And if you want a longer runner, you can simply just get the download pattern, work more repeats, and get a longer piece of fabric. The one thing with this design, though, that I would suggest, if you're going to do that, if you want a much longer runner, always do a center start on this design because, as you'll notice, I hope you can see this, the motifs do not perfectly line up. Maybe if I hold it this way, it'll be better. The motifs do not perfectly line up. So like here's this right here. Let's see, right here, they're centered around in the center here. But then this runs at a little bit different stitch count. This runs at a little bit different stitch count. This is at a little bit different stitch count. So if you're going to make it longer or bigger, what you need to do is find your center, start there, and work each part of the border out. And then that way you'll end up with like correctly aligned motifs. You wouldn't want to start at one end and work it because it'll look a little funky. So definitely a center start on this one. When I started showing this design on Instagram, I got tons of comments on how many people loved the color palette. So I decided to make this also our new free chart card. So those of you who have ordered from Avlea before know that when you get an Avlea order, there's always a little free chart card that goes in there. It's kind of like printed on cardstock. We have these professionally printed. And it just gives a little section of one of our designs. And I usually update these about every 4 to 6 months. It kind of really just depends on when we run out of some and need to print more. And I've never repeated them. So like we'll call them collector's items over time. But I've probably released at least half a dozen now over the last couple of years. But the reason I do these is when I was first researching packaging and fulfilling orders for online businesses and things like that, I loved that a lot of people had figured out a way to give a free gift. And I thought, I thought about stickers, but I was a little bit concerned about the environmental impact of too many stickers out in the universe, and not everybody likes stickers. I thought about putting in candy, but I kind of feel like, candy and fabric do not mix, and not everybody wants candy, although that's not me. I love candy. And then I saw someone else, I had been to a show and someone else had these little like free chart cards, and I thought, oh, that's a great idea. Most of you probably keep a file folder or something of your printed charts, and I thought, oh, this is perfect. You can just drop this in there, and then maybe this you can use for a small project, a little bookmark, a little bag, something like that. So this is the new Aegean Arbor free chart. It will come in your order on the little card like this if you place an Avlea order. But if you just want the chart, you can also go to the website, you click on the shop tab, and then at the little menu on the left-hand side, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see the section free charts. And I've also uploaded it as a free chart. And then you'll see all the instructions there about how to get a free chart. All the free charts show is $1. It's kind of quirky, but it's the best way, it's the best workaround I have in my website content management system that I use to do a PDF for you so that you can get the link to the PDF. So you basically buy it and then you use the code free chart, which is right there, and then it will turn it to 0 and then you get the chart. So anyways, free chart. So new free chart. And then as far as the kit is, of course, just the pattern, all the things. Everybody knows what an Avlea kit looks like. So that's Aegean Arbor. So that's our newest release. That's the April release. I just put it on the website yesterday. Today is Wednesday. Yeah, I put it on the website yesterday. And I'll feature it in this weekend's email. So that's a great design, Aegean Arbor. Really great one to stitch right now with spring. I know I always feel like I want whatever I've got in my hoop that I'm stitching, it's like by this time of the year when it's like my magnolia tree is blooming and there's daffodils coming up, I'm like, oh, I don't want any heavy dark colors. I want like bright, fresh springy colors in my hoop while I'm stitching. So this is a great choice for that. Moving along, the next release this month is something kind of new for me, but it's something that I have had requests for ongoing for years now, and I finally figured out a way to do it. And that is, so many of you, those of you who are new here, may not know that I've spent the majority of my career in the textile and garment industry as a specialty tailor for Greek Orthodox churches. I actually retired out of custom tailoring last winter, after 28 years, mainly because it was just really physically demanding and I was kind of running out of time to do all the things. I transitioned, though, into having a ready-made garment company for those customers, and my husband now runs that. So it's been a really great thing. I actually was able to use, by transitioning from custom tailoring to more of a production line, we were able to drop the price dramatically. So I felt really good about that. So it's been a great change, and really good for my customers, really good for my hands, all the things. But over the years, I have had people ask me over and over again for some sort of cross designs that are from like Greek Orthodox cross designs. And so I've put this together. I finally had a chance to play around with the stick and stitch embroidery paper. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with this stuff. But, okay, so let me show you the actual, okay, so these are the 5 crosses. Let me show you those first, and then I'll talk about the kit. So, and these are just done on a little scrap of linen, just to give you an idea. This is a knotwork cross. This is one that I'm calling the sunburst cross. This is the, oh, whoops, I had that one wrong. Nope. This one's the tulip cross. I had to give them names to differentiate them. These aren't like historical names. They're just names that I gave to them. A sunburst cross, and a floret cross, and then a classic budded cross. This little budded cross is seen a lot in Greek Orthodox churches. It's kind of the default cross. It's used in like publishing and in prayer books and things like that a lot. So I've oftentimes had people ask me for cross designs that they could use on whatever projects they're wanting to stitch, a baptismal robe or a liturgical item for their parish or something like that, and Posca basket covers, things like that. So the way this works, if you've never done stick and stitch paper, it's pretty cool. I had a lot of fun playing around with this, and I definitely see more stick and stitch paper projects in Avlea's future. So what you get in the kit is you get the pattern, which has the stitch diagram, which shows you basically how I stitched the samples. Not that you have to do it that way, but it's a good guideline of some basics. It also comes with our basic embroidery booklet kit. But the way this paper works, if you've never used it, is we print the design on the paper. The paper has kind of a fibrous front, and then it has like a backing to it, like a plastic backing. And you simply cut out the cross that you want. You peel off the like backing, and you stick it to whatever you want to stitch. And then you put that in your hoop, you stitch away over the design. Then when you're all done, you trim away as much of the excess paper as you can, and then whatever's remaining, you rinse it under warm water. And it just, if you've ever gotten a package with those cornstarch peanuts in them, it's like that. It just kind of like fades away. Takes a little bit of rinsing. Some people like to submerge it in a little tote of water. I actually found it was best to put it under a stream of warm water and let it rinse off. So the one caveat here is that you want to pick something to embroider that you can run under warm water. But I did that, and then I just pressed them, and it was great. If these are popular, I have another batch ready to go that are more elaborate. And those, I'm just trying to decide kind of what sizes we're going to do them in, because they are much more elaborate. They are very classic Byzantine crosses. For that kit, I think there's 4 designs. This one has 5 designs. And you'll notice on the paper that like they're in various sizes. So each design is in at least 2 sizes, and a couple of them are actually in 3 sizes. So they're 4-inch, 3-inch, and 2-inch. I thought those would be the most useful. So anyways, the new stick and stitch, the Greek crosses stick and stitch. And I've already got loads of ideas because I ordered the stick and stitch paper in quantity, and I was like, ooh, there's lots of other ways we could play around with this. Most notably with the cushion embroidered kits, because we lost our digital printer on those, the company that was doing the digital printing for us. And I've been, oh, how do we do that? So we might use the stick and stitch for that. And I've also been thinking Fawn Thoughts, something I've wanted to do for years, but just couldn't quite figure out how to do it, are linen table runners with hand embroidery, not cross stitch, but with hand embroidery. If you've ever seen some of the old arts and crafts style embroidered table runners, oh, those just, I saw them years ago, and they've just stuck in my memory, and I just love them. So I was thinking eventually down the road, I'd really love to figure out a way to use the stick and stitch paper to actually do hand embroidered table runners, because that's another thing I've had people ask me for. So Gian Arbor, Greek crosses. Oh, and then the other big one for those of you who haven't seen my Instagram post, or maybe have and are wondering about it, are the next release. We just released these about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, the Folk Flourishes kits. And I want to talk about those for a little bit because I'm pretty excited about those. So I'm going to grab my enormous pile of stuff here to show you for Folk Flourishes. So over the last couple of years, I've been watching the visible mending trend with a lot of excitement and like, ooh, I just love how people are using embroidery on their garments and on their clothes. And I think it's such a great way to take our sort of mass-produced clothing and personalize it and ornament it and adorn it and make it really unique and really ours. Whereas maybe in previous generations, people would either have the time, and the skills to like completely sew a garment, and embroider it. Today, a lot of us have really busy lives. And we might not have the skills or the space to have a sewing studio. And so we want something, but we still would like to make something that's like unique. And so what I've developed is this technique using one of our Greek folk fabrics as a type of waste canvas. It's a type of waste fabric. When I first started doing this, I tried using waste fabric, or waste canvas is what it's called. And it is so crunchy. And it's stiff, and it actually hurts your fingers. And I just was like, at first I was like, rats, this idea just isn't going to take off. And I set it aside for months. And I literally had it in my little projects basket. And I would look at it and I just feel reproached. And then one day I was looking at it and I was like, wait a second. Waste canvas, you just pull out those threads. What if you had another fabric that you could just pull out the threads? So I started practicing with our Milina 26 count fabric, and bingo, it worked perfectly. It was like comfortable and fun to stitch on, and then it was super easy to remove the threads. If you want to see the technique in action, go to the Avlea website, and on the how-to page, you'll see the Folk Flourishes videos. There's a long one. It's an 18-minute video on a shirt. It shows how to put the embroidery on the yoke of a shirt. This is the blue one I did. The one in the video is white, but this is one from the Woodlands kit. And I added this really cool, just kind of really understated folk embroidery to the yoke. And then I added a little sort of coordinating vine print to the cuffs of this shirt. And I just love the technique. I've actually done 4 shirts so far for myself. Actually, this one I may actually end up giving to my daughter because it's kind of her style. So I might do that. And then I just kind of got on a roll and I started playing around with it and realized, oh wait, this really, really works on lots of things. So there's the long 18-minute video that kind of goes into great detail for those of you who like the long videos. But then there's what I call the short shorts video. I love that name. It didn't even occur to me until after I'd finished it and was typing it into the website and realized, oh, it's the short shorts video. So it shows how I did the Folk Flourishes on this pair of women's linen shorts. So I just got these basic linen shorts, Amazon, and I added this little folk detail just in the corner. So it shows how the process works. It's super easy, it's super fast, and I'll go into all the details like on the videos in terms of like, you know, I don't use a, I use an actual knot so that, oh, those of you who have asked about seeing the back side, okay, there's the back side of the embroidery. I'll try and show that. It just kind of looks like if you've done a hand embroidered project, it looks like that. And I knot both to start and to stop. I actually use a knot like you would for hand embroidery, mainly because these sort of items are going to be washed. So I don't want that stitching to come loose when it's washed. Then I did, I'll show you all my projects because I had a lot of fun with it. Then my daughter gave me the idea to do one of these little baby bandanas. I guess these are like, I mean, they're like super fancy burp cloths. It's like babies are so well turned out these days. Wow. And so I went again on Amazon, found this really cool gauze, organic gauze little baby bib, and I put a little historic cypress tree on it, little Greek cypress tree on it. And that took me like all of like an evening. It was so easy. Then I did shorts. Where's the other little pair of shorts? Oh, here they are. Let's see, finishing the Woodlands kit. I did this really great little pair of Old Navy shorts for my granddaughter with a little deer on it. She's super into animals. And so the deer I thought was really great. So the little deer. And then for her baby sister, oh wait, nope, these are for her too. Oh, I don't know. Oh, those are part of the next series of kits. And I guess I'm not being very organized about this. I should have explained that the two kits that released in late March are the garden kit and the Woodlands kit. So each of these kits actually comes with a 12 by 12 inch piece of the fabric. It's enough to do about 9 to 12 projects, depending on what you're going to do. And then they come with a chart, which I should have grabbed and I didn't. It's a chart that has 3 to 4 solid motifs, like the deer or the tree, and then 5 to 6 border designs. So like the Woodlands comes with this border and the vine border that I used on the cuff. Whoopsie, there we go. Then the other kit is the Gardens kit, and it, same thing, comes with, I think it has 4 motifs and 6 borders. So, and then in about a month, I'll be releasing the next 2 kits, which are Seaside and Geometrics. And so the Seaside one has, oh my word, the best little Greek trieme sailing ship that's just fabulous. I can't wait. My granddaughter also loves ships and boats and all things having to do with water, so those are going to be great. And then it has like really cool meanders and waves and all sorts of seaside-y things. And then the Geometric one has like all sorts of like just geometric patterns out of folk embroidery. So those are coming up. But to continue showing you gardens, this is a little bit of embroidery I put again on just inexpensive Old Navy linen shorts for my granddaughter. And then I did, I did this bandana. This has been a very popular reel. Actually, I did 2 different things on this bandana, and this is the one that's shown on the reel. And then I did another corner with another design. These bandanas are super cool. I found these on Amazon. They're Japanese and they're 100% cotton. And I particularly liked them because they have this really neat kind of like just colored border all around the outer edge. And they come in like 20 colors. It's a lot of colors. Then I also, while I was playing around, I did a set of napkins. I just made some quick napkins out of some Essex linen that I had. And I just like stitched them on the napkins. Those worked up super fast. I was envisioning the napkins as being a fabulous quick project that you could make one. And then if you were giving, say, a gift basket to a friend or something, you could lay it in the basket. Wow. With your amazing little folk flourish on one corner. I thought that'd be really cool. Or like a really nice little cloth to put in a basket with bread in it or something. I just thought that'd be very cool. So I also played around with the napkins. I was trying to think of things that you could give as gifts or ways that you could use it just around your house in your everyday life. So the other thing that I did that I was actually really happy with were tote bags. I got simple muslin tote bags. Again, I found them on Amazon. I think it was like, they're about $2 a piece. They're not very expensive. And I just put the little bit of embroidery there. And I just thought, when I'm like going to the store, I'm at Trader Joe's, I'm like, oh, this old thing? Why, yes, I did embroider this beautiful reusable grocery bag. So I thought that'd be really cool. And then kind of my crowning glory for this project, which I really enjoyed, was I found these little matching Old Navy dresses for my granddaughters, and I did them each one from the garden kit. This one, the small one, has the little diamond, little kind of tulips and diamond design. And then the other one is another same dress, and then I just did this really sweet little border. Those of you who know my kits may recognize this. It's a section of the Calliope's Meadow kit. It's a really beautiful border with these little graduated leaf stems. I love this border. So I did that. So I've had a ton of fun with this. I also did Trader Joe's towels. I actually just got some of these like inexpensive, you can buy the 3-pack of Trader Joe's towels for, I think it's $7.99. And I just started putting embroidery there. Same idea. I was thinking like a gift basket for a friend, or, just having a little something on your kitchen towels that makes them feel a little bit more personal. So that's the Folk Flourishes kits. Those I'm pretty excited about because I feel like they really help. I'm really hoping that they help introduce traditional folk embroidery to a younger generation of stitchers, and maybe to people who wouldn't otherwise, who would maybe think that folk embroidery is just a lot of great, big, huge, complicated projects. This way you can sit and in an evening, a couple of evenings, you can actually put beautiful folk embroidery on something you already have around your house. So I'm pretty excited about those. So those are the Folk Flourishes kits. Okay, wow, we are just now through all the releases, which means, having covered all the new releases, it means now you are going to be rewarded with a ton of sneak peeks. I've got so many good sneak peeks because I have been basically holding up fabric. I've been finishing up all the, last month was kind of a big push to finish all the edits on my book that's coming out. So this August, my book, Everyday Folk, over 175 embroidery designs for the home inspired by traditional textiles. I think that I always they changed the subtitle from what I had originally chosen. I like theirs better, but I always forget what it is. But the book is Everyday Folk, and I'm really excited about it coming out. We are going to have it available at the Avlea website, and we will actually be selling special signed bookplate copies. I will be signing them, and so it's really cool. So what the publishers do is they give me these really nice book plates that I sign, and that those go into the books that we sell. So the only place you can get a signed copy is from Avlea, at least right now. And I just heard yesterday the retail price of the book is, the suggested retail price is $24.99. Because we offer free shipping, we may need to raise that price just a little bit, which I know it's like, well, then it's not really free shipping. You're right. But I just don't know that we can, there's not a lot of margins on a book like that. So I'm not certain. We might have to sell it for like 26 or maybe even 27. I'm doing the math on the media mail, but I'm trying to get the shipping rate as low as possible so that we don't have to raise the price very much. And then the other thing that we'll be offering at the Avlea website, which I'll probably show those in like the July FlossTube, is for all of the projects in the book, we are allowed to sell a kit that goes with the project. It will not include a paper pattern. It will not include a paper pattern because of copyright issues. We can't do that. But it will be a supply kit that you can add on for any of the 14 essential projects that are in the book. So the book is structured to have 14 essential projects that sort of walk you through kind of like a lot of different options of what you could do. They're projects that I've devised and designed specifically to introduce people to folk embroidery. So there's a couple of cushion covers, there's some table runners and table mats, there's a couple of little drawstring bags, and what am I forgetting? I can't remember the other one. And then, so those you can just open the book, start, and like just do the project as it's shown in the book. But then in addition to that, there are chapters that explain how to take the design, modify it, change the size, make it bigger, make it smaller, use it for something different. And then the whole back half of the book is a huge design library. I spent all last spring combing all of my vintage embroideries and my resources and coming up with new designs. And so there's it's like 100 and I want to say it's 153 like charts in the back. So, and they're all different kinds. Like some are all over designs. There's centered band designs. There's perimeter border designs, and lots of small borders that would be great for the folk flourishes. Actually, I didn't put them all together until I'd done the one and then done the other. But then I was like, oh, this would be great for folk flourishes. So the book should be really great. I really want, my whole goal with the book was to write a book that would be really high value for a stitcher. I know as I've gotten older, you know, I've done a lot of cleanouts of my library over the years, and the books that always stay for me are the books that are both inspiring and informative. Like those always stay in my library. I never get rid of those. And that was really important to me for the book, that it was like that it was built like that you would want it both to inspire you to get started if you are new, but that it would also be something you keep on your shelf as a reference work. It has like little design worksheets, all the math stuff, step by step, all of that. So anyways, okay, moving along. Oh, the sneak peeks. Okay, let's do sneak peeks. So many sneak peeks. Okay, a bunch of these, I am literally just waiting until I need a sunny day to do photos. So I'm waiting to do photos, and then these will go on the release schedule over the next coming months. The first one is a new addition to my little sampler line. I was honestly surprised how many of you like the little Mediterranean sampler and the Balkan Quartet, but the little sampler designs where I have little motifs. This one is actually a Romanian sampler. And so this is all designs. Last year, I was actually able to obtain a set of vintage Romanian embroidery designs. I've long admired Romanian embroidery work. So beautiful. Their folk costume tradition is just stunning. If you've never really looked into Romanian embroidery, it's really, really beautiful. But it's characterized often by very high contrast black and white color palettes. And I wanted to retain that in this sampler. You can change out the colors for any other project, but I really love that really intense coral red and the black. There's just something so energetic and vibrant about it. And I wanted to retain that in the design. So that's Romanian sampler. That'll be coming out. These, I've designed these so that you get a couple of different, or actually usually 3 borders that you can use on other projects. You can stitch it as is. I've had several Avlea stitchers stitch this as a cushion. I have at least one Avlea stitcher who's stitching all of them as they come out, and she's framing them and hanging them on her wall, which I think is really cool. And then you can also use them for like pin cushions, small projects. You can embroider this on a little bag. There's a lot you can do with these. So that's Romanian sampler. That's coming out soon. The next one that's coming out, I'm really excited about. For those of you who joined me, like, I don't know, the last couple of FlossTubes, I mentioned that last winter I was able to get a set of 5 vintage Ukrainian embroideries from Ukraine. And they were done in very like 1960s, 1970s kind of color palettes. And some of them have been kind of degraded. So like sections were like in disrepair, but I was still able to look at the designs and use the designs. And one of the pieces that I found was this beautiful table runner design. The original was done in hot orange and yellow. And it was just really hard to see the design because it was so high contrast. It was such hot, like bright colors. So I started playing around with the color palette, and I wanted something that still honored Ukrainian embroidery, but was a little softer. And so I basically just kind of took all the classic Ukrainian colors and I just dialed them down a little bit. So this still uses the terracotta 355. Instead of a heavy black for this, I actually used this color we have. Do I have it right here? I probably have it behind me. Yeah, it's this really great color that I've gotten recently from DMC, and it's known as Beaver Gray Ultra Very Dark, I think. It's color 844. I really like it because it gives the intensity and kind of the contrast of black, but without being so like bright and heavy, without feeling heavy. So, and then the other colors in this design are the 676, the soft yellow, which I love that color. And then the green that we used is, I think it's a 3053. Is that right? Oh no, it might be the 522. I can't remember which green we used, but it's a softer green. But what I particularly loved about this table runner is how it was connected, how they used the negative space in the middle here. I just thought this was such a brilliant use of a beautiful, beautiful border, but then finding a way to make it super easy to count down to the other side of the table runner. I just thought that was brilliant. I was like, I got to start doing more of that. We have some designs that are like this. Latvian Berries is like this. Tulsi Trellis is like this. There's a few others, but it's just so beautiful and compelling. I just really, really liked it. And this is on the Mikini 30 count. Oh, I forgot to mention, the Romanian sampler is also on the Mikini 30 count. So that's the Kievan Stars. That one's going to be coming out really soon. Next up is Milina. So this one's got a really funny story. So in the same collection of Ukrainian embroideries was this beautiful diamond border. And again, it was done in bright yellow and bright red. And so it was so bright. And I wanted to try playing around with a little bit different color palette. So I switched kind of to the other end of like a cool blues and greens spectrum. Whoops, we've got threads on it. And I put it on the pomegranate collection thinking, well, I'll just see if people are interested in it. And literally 11 days later, Cindy Russell turned it in. She's one of our amazing Avlea stitchers. She does pomegranate collection. She does sample stitching. She's just a wonderful person. She's provided me really great information on drawn thread hemming that I'm hoping to use to create more complex drawn thread hemming videos this year, maybe next year, as I have time. But she turned it in within 11 days. And so it was like, okay, we need to do this as a kit. And then a week later, I had another Avlea stitcher say, oh, I want to do it, but I want to do it on the Mikini. Can I do that? And I'm like, fantastic. So the great thing about Milina is it's going to be another kit that has two variations. So when we release it as a kit, you'll be able to stitch it in a kit either with the 30 count vanilla linen. I think this is the vanilla or the porcelain. I can't remember which one this one is. I think this might be the porcelain. Or the 30 count Mikini. They're just different fabrics. The Mikini is made of mercerized yarns, so it's very crisp, and the stitch definition is excellent. Drawn thread hemming's really easy. Linen is a classic for counted thread or cross stitch. So it's really just like what you want. I like being able to offer kits in the Mikini as well because it's a less expensive fabric. It's about a third the cost of linen, so that keeps the kit price significantly lower. So you guys know me. I'm a frugalista at heart. I want everybody to have access to stitching, so I want really affordable kits. So Milina's coming. And then as I've been developing new designs, I have to find my other one. As I've been developing new designs, I have also, I've got to show that one too. I've really been trying to add, for several designs coming out in this next cycle of designs, I've been trying to do as much as possible, offer additional variations. So like, for example, Milina has a linen variation or a Mikini variation. So sometimes it's a fabric variation, but I really like to have photos when I do that because I want you to know exactly what you're getting. So that's why, but that means that for a single design, we have to stitch 2 samples. So it's a little bit more work, but I feel like it gives you more options. And on one of the designs, and then some of the designs, what I'm trying to do is also offer a size variation. And so one of the ones coming up that I'm really excited about is a great example of that. Now, I released the Copper Branches design in, that would have been February, March, maybe March. And that one comes as a table runner and as a wall hanging. And there's some of these motifs that I work on that I think, oh, those are so great, both as a table runner and as a wall hanging. And some people, maybe you're in a space in your life where like, oh, I don't need any table runners, but like I have a little bit of wall that I'd like to like put a cute wall hanging on. Or maybe you're like, well, I wouldn't use a wall hanging, but I really like a table runner. So I'm trying with some of these designs to create multiple variations of them so that you have different options. And the next one coming up is, okay, we're still debating the name, but I'm going to go with the name that I've chosen. I have run it past Pamela, and Pamela does think it is a cool name. For me, it's a very, it's a comfortable Greek word, but for some people, I don't know, but it's a really cool world. Okay, so the name we're going with right now is Vlachernai Peacocks. Vlachernai was the palace in Constantinople. Sometimes you'll see it written in English as Blockernai, or something like that. But we're spelling it Vlachernai, which is Vlachernai. So this is the Vlachernai Peacocks design. This is from a vintage Greek embroidery kit that that I saw and that I actually have in my collection. And the kit itself had like the worst quality fabric, but this design was so cool that I just had to run with it. But this is a beautiful pair of confronted, also known as mirrored, peacocks with this just amazing vine work around them. Super fabulous diamond border. This little stepped diamond border, and then another great outer border. I mean, this just is like chock-a-block full. I just finished stitching this, like literally like 4 days ago. I just finished stitching this, so I haven't even pressed it. I had so much fun stitching it. I also changed up the colors significantly from the original. The original was in red and black, and I felt it was too high contrast. And so we had, over the last couple of months, I've been really playing around with the DMC 3808 turquoise. I think it's turquoise ultra very dark, maybe. I can't remember the name exactly. And this is a really interesting floss color because it looks really kind of glowy and bright on the cone, but it stitches almost like a really saturated turquoisey navy. I can definitely see that I'm going to be using a lot of this in the future. I love this color. It is just fabulous. And these peacocks are just, oh, I love peacocks. And I just love this design. I love everything about it. It's just fabulous. It was really fun to stitch. I mean, it's just a great design. So I originally envisioned it as a table runner, but then I was like, wait, it would make a really great wall hanging. So Maria actually stitched it. She just turned this in, and we did it in a wall hanging version. So if you just have a little bit where you just want to have a couple of little Byzantine peacocks right there on your wall, there you go. So that's a really good example of ones where we're trying to do them in a couple of variations so that you have options with your stitching. Now, let's see what else I have to share. Did I not say there was a lot to share today? There's a lot to share today. Oh, I know. I have this one to share. Whoop. I forgot to grab another one. I'm gonna go grab that one. So I finished this about a month ago, and we're getting ready to release it. I'm just waiting for a good day to photograph it. Hopefully I can stand back far enough that you can see it. This is the Rann Rose design. This is from a vintage embroidery in my private collection that was originally stitched on a fabric somewhat similar to Milina 30 count, but it was stained and it had holes in it, and it was a very, very fine Milina. It's not quite the same as our Milina, and I really thought the design would look amazing on linen. So this I stitched on our 32 count parchment linen, and I'm so happy with it. It is a lot, it's funny, it's not actually a lot of stitching, believe it or not. It's a lot of outlining. There's a lot of outlining on this. I'm going to see if I can get a little closer so you can see the motif. It's this beautiful stylized rose motif with this really graceful outer border, which makes it very easy. I worked a corner, got the border established, worked the border over, and then with these alternating colors of these little buds, it makes it easy to kind of count your way over without having to count that many gazillion threads. And then you work your next rows. It's just a beautiful design. I'm going to be using this on my coffee table. I'll probably put it in my coffee table, see if I can show that, like this with like a plant in the middle, especially for spring. I was thinking this is going to be beautiful spring and summer. And then I just worked a drawn thread hem on this. And I am allowing, you'll notice, a lot more hem allowance. So this kit, the piece of fabric actually, I believe, I've got to remember, I think you start 4 inches in from a corner, which most of you know that most of my designs start 2 inches in from each corner. This one's going to be like 4 inches in. So you've got that really nice big hem border. This is a beautiful classic embroidery. And for this, I kept the original color palette of the original vintage embroidery because it was so classic and I really liked it. And I really love when vintage embroideries work with this the classic terracotta red. And then this is the 3787 brown gray very dark, which was actually very close to what was used in the original. The original was not black, which was kind of unusual for a Greek embroidery of that era. But I love when they add these pops of color, the Wedgwood blue, the bright green, the little pops of yellow. I just think that's just so effective. It's just so beautiful. So Thracian Rose will be coming out really soon. Right now, I have a limited quantity of the 32 count parchment. It actually was an order error from my supplier in Greece, who misunderstood when I was asking for off-white and sent me the parchment. So I have one bolt only of it right now, and I'm not certain I can get more of it. So this may end up being like a limited edition kit. We'll have to see. I'm checking with him to see if I can get more. I may just have to mail him a sample of the fabric so he knows what I'm talking about. Going back and forth between Greek and English with color terms can be very challenging. So that's Thracian Rose. And then the next one I'm going to show you, give me a second, I'm going to go off camera and grab it because it's just too great. And I meant to show it to you. And I forgot. Okay, let's see here. If I can pull this one off. Okay. So the other one that I'm getting ready to finish, and this one I'm really excited about, is Delia. Right now, I'm gonna rename this, but it's a palm design. But you can see it. It's this wonderful palm design. It's actually a design, a border that I was going to use in the book. Let me see if I can pull this off. I was going to use it in the book, but it was too big. It wouldn't fit. And I really wanted to stitch it myself. This one was so hard for me to let go. But Maria's like, oh my word, she's like a machine. And she was like, I want something more to stitch. I'm like, okay, this is the next thing up. This is a beautiful palmette design. And so I'll be finishing it as a table runner. I had her stitch it on a really big piece of fabric because I wasn't certain like exactly how I wanted to stitch it, how I wanted to finish it with how much hem allowance. But it's a striking, amazing design. You see these like big broadleaf designs with these 8-pointed stars in a lot of Greek island embroidery. They're just beautiful. So that's a design that's coming up. So that is a ton of designs. I have a lot to release over the next few months. And I think that's it. Let's see. What else did I have to share with you today? Oh, one other thing. Probably in the next few months, I'm going to be working a little more on the Avlea app. For those of you who may not be familiar, I added an Avlea folk embroidery app a couple of years ago. And it's just been kind of there languishing, doing its little thing. I mainly did it because I wanted people to have the how-to videos super fast and easy on their phone as they were stitching. And so I'll be doing more with that. One of my goals this year is, and really not just this year, but really ongoing, is to reach a younger stitching demographic. I really want to share folk embroidery with a younger generation. There's those of us who, people at my age, who we've enjoyed stitching and crafting for decades, but there's a lot of younger people that are just getting started. And I want to basically be one of those people that's like encouraging them and inspiring them and helping share handcrafts with the next upcoming generation, because I feel that that is so important. And one of the ways we'll be doing that is through the Avlea app, because the younger generation is very comfortable with apps. And so watch for things on that. I'm still mulling over things like push notifications and stuff like that, because as you guys all know, I'm very committed to honoring people's time and attention. That's very important to me. Very important. So important to me. So I'm really mulling that over and discussing it with my website and app rep to see kind of how we can do that in a way that's respectful of people's time and attention. So, but I'll be working more on that. So there's more of that to come. And then of course it's going to be a really busy summer. I actually am going to be on the Craft Industry Alliance podcast I think it's in June, to talk about the book. And then that's the other thing too. I think there's some other podcasts that I'll be on for the book. The publisher, David and Charles, is the publishing company of my book. And I met with their marketing gal, Sophie. And let's just say this. Sophie kind of makes me look like a snail in terms of energy. Okay? So even I could barely keep up taking notes when Sophie and I had our meeting. And I was like, okay, this is definitely the girl I want in charge of marketing my book. I mean, she has plans and thoughts and ideas and contacts and all the things. So I'm pretty excited about that. So I think there's more podcasts and things that I'll be on. Those of you who may or may not have seen it, I was on Fiber Talk last month. They did a little over an hour long interview with me. It was a great interview. It was just, I really enjoyed that interview because I feel like last year was a kind of a really big year for me as I retired out of custom tailoring and went to doing Avlea full time. That's been a really big change in my life and a great one. But it was really great to kind of do that kind of like review with Fiber Talk. So it was a great interview. So anyways, I think that's everything. I think that's it. As usual, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to hop over to the Avlea website, or you can throw comments to me. And I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for all of your support, for stitching my designs, your kind comments, the nice emails you guys send me. It just gives me so much joy in my work. When you guys send me that kind of stuff, it makes me feel like we are together, just putting so much beauty in the world. And I feel like that's just so important to me. And I feel like I have this wonderful shared community of all of you stitchers who want to do that too. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for your support and your enthusiasm for folk embroidery. And I will see you next month.